Starting right.
Guilty of crime.
Hello, everybody. What's up? Happy Friday. I'm a little bit late, but I was waiting for everybody to roll on over and buckle up because today we're talking about House of Horrors, guys. Michigan mom leaves her 3 kids in filth, neglect, and abandonment, facing life. Now, you guys, I can see all you. It's freaking lit up in chat. Happy Friday. Let's go. Hit the like button so we can see who's here. Now, if you are not a member, you can't chat, but you can still see what I'm streaming. So thank you. Thank you for being here. I'm very excited today and just feeling great. Welcome Cody Cairns. He became a YouTube member, and Carlissa. Thank you so much for the $49.99 super sticker. I never expect any of that, but it's much appreciated. Do hit the like button, guys. Now, if you're watching this and you cannot chat, you can always quickly grab yourself a membership and you can. So if you're wondering, if you're here and you're wondering, what the heck? I can't chat, Jay. It's because you're not a member, and I have to do some special things for my members, of course. So yes, I can see you, Kelly. I see you under the mystic moon. Good to see you. Clark, my girl. Oh my goodness. Now, you guys, hey, buckle up today, but this is not the only case this is far from the case. I'm going to do a series on House of Horrors. You guys are going to be, I think you guys are going to be really surprised at how many of these cases are happening. I have another case lined up that's House of Horrors with the cutest babies, blonde hair, blue-eyed babies, nothing that I would expect to happen. The demographics. Now, this one, you say, some people would say, look at this lady, of course, look at how she, blah, 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 blah. That's expected. Why didn't anyone know? Well, they did know. CPS was called, neighbors had an idea, and yet this happened. All right. What's up, Nanaska? Good to see you, my friend. You say in the same story from a few months ago. Now, but things have progressed. All right. So let me roll this up. What's up, Ashton Lee? Good to see you, my friend. We'll throw up that. This is, the unbelievable part about this, Kelly, is that there's 5 other cases called House of Horror Moms, Parents. This is not an isolated incident, but it's progressing toward trial. Okay. Her charges have been upgraded. Bond was set at $250 million. All right. So this case, I'm going to start from the beginning. If you don't know anything about it, I'm going to tell you like I always do. And then I'm going to do a series on House of Horrors so you guys can know. And Nanaska, this is for you. All right. I'm going to smoke my vape. Shout out to you. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you. I'm going to put this up so you guys can see who I'm talking about and what. Good to see you. CPS knew about it. Neighbors knew about it. Lots of people knew about it. And this woman, I really do hope she spends her life in prison. And I got to say this because when you see it, yeah, I would say that too. She said pendeja, if anyone knows what that means. And if you don't, then good. All right. Good to see you, Jennifer B. How you doing? Happy Friday. It is a good Friday. we're moving in the right direction, folks. So shout out to my mods. What's up, Carly? Tiff, if you're here, shout out. Synth and Foxy. Leanne, welcome. All right, we're moving in a new direction. All good. I'm happy today because we're making progress with things behind the scenes. You guys know there's been a lot of things swirling in the background, problems happening, but we're getting those fixed behind the scenes. Nothing needs to be in public. All right. When I come here to present true crime and not trauma. So I just want you to know, if you're wondering, things are moving in the right direction. Negotiations are happening with the people that we've been battling. So I want you guys to ease your mind a little, because I know you guys message me and you have my back all the time, and you say, Jay, I don't like this. I don't like, look at what's happening. Well, I'm taking care of it, not on camera, but behind the scenes. So thank you guys for caring, and just believe me when I say I want this stuff gone, and we want to focus on a case a day, guys. A case a day means more coverage of more cases. All right. So that's what we're going to do here. Sounds like she slipped through the cracks for years, Barbie G. Well, let's get into it. You guys are excited. I just want to say hi. Hi, Nat. Good to see you. Sadie's mama. Love you, girl. Undead Ramen. Shadow. You say, what's up with the crowns? What am I? I'm not sure what the crowns, but I don't know what I'm missing. But good to see you guys. All the mods are here. Don Grandma, shout out to you. That's the longest that you could be a member, is 13 months. I think you and Carly and maybe Sadie's mama sat there and watched me when nobody else was talking, nobody else was watching. So thank you. All right, so let's check this out. If you guys knew about this case, there's more to it. All right, so if you think you know, I'm going to tell you more today. And then we have other cases just like this. All right. So Kelli Marie Bryant, 34 years old, says, I sacrificed my children. And she did. She did, guys. Oh, I got to say, trigger warning, because I've got the footage where it's not blurred out. So if your stomach is not so good today, or you're eating, trigger warning for all of it, because I'm going to show you some graphic pictures that are not blurred out. You know how we do here. We cover the stuff that nobody else wants to cover, and I like to show the things that nobody else likes to show. All right. And I do that because, well, that's who I am. That's what I like to do. I like to show you guys the real stuff that's happening. I don't want to fluff it with, rainbows and butterflies, although I do like rainbows and butterflies. All right. But not for true crime. So much love. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Trigger warning. Janet Rawlings, thank you so much for becoming a member. If you're watching right now and you can't chat, it's because it's a members only chat. You can still watch. I got to do something special for these folks that have my back every single day. So thank you. All right. Hit the like button and Ghost. There's more content on Ghost every single day. All right, guys. So let's get into this. And then you guys are going to be mad. You guys are going to be mad. Vermont loves Jay. I'm so happy to see you tonight, and we're happy to see you. Thank you. All right, yeah, hit the like button. There's 107 people in here. I'm hoping that people meander their way over, but this is a members only chat. So if you're just watching, please do hit the like button still and help us get in the algorithm. Help us get this case circulating. All right. So let me tell you, and then we're going to see some pretty graphic stuff, guys. I don't understand what you guys are talking about. The crowns. What crowns are we talking about? All right. Let me know in chat. I have no idea. And today it's a members only. Let's give away a Foxy box today, guys. You guys really do want a Foxy box. I got a Foxy box, and I got to tell you, coolest thing ever. Foxy does have style. I got it, man. And she has good taste. All right. So let's go. Get it done. Hit that like button. I'm setting you up for not an anger fest, but you are going to be a little bit unhinged. All right. See, some of you guys did forget. You say happy Friday, and you say, I almost forgot. All right. Okay, so let me just tell this to you, and then we're going to watch some footage that you're not going to be happy about. Now, this case is in Pontiac, Michigan, guys. In this case, the whole community came out. You guys probably have heard of this. All right, 34-year-old Kelli Bryant is facing serious charges. She left her 3 children in squalor for what appears to be 4 to 5 years, guys. The children were 15, 13, and 12. They were found in the Pontiac residence where conditions were described by law enforcement literally as biohazard, guys, with rooms overrun by garbage, mold, and even human waste staining clothing and hair. They were using pizza boxes to sleep on. They kept piling up the corrugated boxes or any boxes they could. You know how you get a little bit of, and they use that as a bed. Now, the findings came after the landlord was concerned and requested a welfare check because Bryant, the mom, Kelli, stopped paying rent. So it prompted Oakland County detectives to make a horrific discovery. Now, that was on February 14th, you guys. That was literally on Valentine's Day. Nat says, I just want to say something. I feel bad about what's happening and the others. They don't understand. Please keep it up. You're a good person. Thank you, Nat. I appreciate you. I am doing this, and I think I'm the right person for the job, right? I think I have pretty thick skin after all these tattoos and everything has made my skin pretty thick. I can take it, but we're working on a resolution that's peaceful. Yes, my friend. Yes, my friend. This is actually 2025 in February 14th, 2025, I believe. Let me take a look at that. Yeah, everything says 2025. They were in there from 2020 to 2021. They were there from 2020. So from COVID until 2025, you guys, those children were in squalor and filth. Okay. All right, so let's get to it. February 14th, 2025. Imagine what you guys were doing on Valentine's Day. You tell me. I hope you weren't in squalor. Now, according to the records, investigations report that Kelli moved into the Pontiac home in 2019 along with her 4 children. Now, at some point, either in 2020 or 2021, she just left the residence with the kids there. She abandoned 3 of her children while arranging the fourth to live with his father. Right? In the years, the abandoned children survived solely on sporadic weekly food drop offs without any provision for basic hygiene or care. Now, the prolonged neglect resulted in severe degradation of the living conditions, leaving them isolated and fearful of strangers and family intervention. Now, during the preliminary court appearance on May 16th, 2025, Bryant made a chilling statement. And that's what I said earlier. I sacrificed my children, is what she said. Now, the comment that underscored the disturbing nature of the neglect testimonies came from detectives. Among the statements by Detective John, who's the head of this in Oakland County, they detailed how the children were found with fecal matter on their clothing and hair, and it resembled a revolting pit of refuse, is what they called it. The accounts were painted by systematic neglect, you guys, and it persisted over years. Now, Bryant is facing 3 charges, and they're gonna 3 charges of first-degree child abuse and 3 counts of welfare fraud. All right, the office is seeking to terminate her parental rights. They've already told her you have no contact with the children. Now, she was contacting the children while locked up, and they had to take her back to court. Now, there was currently no bond set, but they did set it at $250 million because they say she is a potential flight risk. All right. Now, she was out on bond over the trial during the recent court appearance. And the trial date hasn't been set. After this, that's what happened. She got out on bond. I don't know how. They must have turned it. They must have revoked it. But they asked her not to speak with the children because she was. All right. So February 14th was the day everything was found. we go back to 2019. She moves in 2020, 2021. She leaves the children. Now, October 2024, a year before she was discovered, she stopped, or not quite a year, but months. She stopped paying rent. All right. So it lapsed in payments and a red flag came to the landlord. Now, October, November, December, 2 months later, no communication from Bryant to the landlord. He was getting anxious. He said, I need to get rent and what's going on in the house. So then December, we have 2 months later, February 14th, a welfare check came. The landlord came, county deputies visited the house, and they found extreme squalor. Okay, 6 days later, February 20th, 2025, Bryant was arraigned in Pontiac court. I'll show you a little bit of that. Now, in a month later, subsequent court proceedings acknowledged that Kelli undisclosed mental health condition is what they're trying to say. The hearings further scrutinized her situation and added a complexity to her defense. So they're trying to use a mental health defense. Now, May 16th, 2025, which is was just past us. Triple May. We're on the 30th now. May 16th, 2025, at a preliminary hearing, Judge Cynthia Thomas Walker affirmed that there was sufficient evidence to move the case forward with the trial. Okay, so children are in custody of anybody else but her, and let's go. All right, guys, trigger warning, because there's some videos that are, yeah, look at those nails. Watch. Let's look at that a little closer. What is that? Is that a style? I hope you guys, let's watch. She's in jail now, guys. She's in jail. Let's rock and roll, because I want you guys, inquiring minds, to know. She went from those nails to to jail, to the black and white. All right. So a mom of horrors. You can see all the things there. Conditions were so inhumane, you guys. And thank you for the 420 gifted membership by Foxy. All right, we're gonna pull this down, and you guys are gonna be, I don't know. All right, let's look. First, we're gonna look at what happened. I'm just gonna do a clip because I am visual. I'm a visual person, and I know you guys are too. Happy Friday, Crime Crew. Love you guys. Thank you, Clara. I do appreciate that. I really do. I don't want to start bashing somebody's nails, because I know somebody might have those nails and then get upset with me. But what you guys do in chat, as long as you're being nice to each other, we're good. All right, let's watch.
Top story on your Monday. The Oakland County prosecutor says the mother, who is accused of abandoning her 3 children for years, is directly violating court orders. They say Kelli Bryant should have her communication privileges revoked because she's called her children's caregiver multiple times, and that's something the judge said she could not do as she sits in the Oakland County lockup. Let's get out to Shantae Passmore. She's working the story, joins us live this evening. Shantae, the judge was pretty clear about this.
Yeah, he was. And so recently the prosecution filed this motion to ban all forms of communication. So who is the caregiver? Well, according to the defense, that would be Kelli Bryant's own father. And now they're challenging this restriction.
8 times. Oakland County prosecutors say that's how many times Kelli Bryant called the caregiver for 3 children between.
Isn't that interesting, guys? She didn't give 2 shits about her children when she left them abandoned in the house. And when you see the conditions and how disgusting it is, now we don't see the children, but why now? What is she? You think the kids really want to have anything to do with her? Don't you think they might be afraid of her? This is disgusting to me.
February 21st and March 7th. Between March 8th and the 12th, reportedly 10 times. The children are at the center of a child abuse case. The Pontiac mother is accused of leaving them to live alone for years. The home's condition described by authorities as deplorable. As part of her bond reduction, she was told to not have contact with the children and caregiver.
Right.
Now, prosecutors are asking for a judge to review.
This is where she looks good to me. This is what I like to see her looking like, is that's where she belongs. Mom Shack Hair, thank you so much for the $3 super sticker. Shout out to you. I haven't really seen you here, but you're a member and awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, she's disgusting, but that's where she belongs forever. She ruined those children's lives for 4 or 5 years, and it's going to continue because their mental health is not going to be good for quite some time. And welcome. Thank you. All right. Even being in custody of a family member, why these children not have a guardian? Well, I hope they're working on that. And Nat, thank you so much for the 5 guilty of crime memberships. That means if you're watching and you can't, if you can't communicate by chat, you can now. So thank you. That and more. Thank you, more and Nat for the 10 memberships. All right, let's go.
Now, prosecutors are asking for a judge to revoke her communication privileges. Criminal defense attorney Lillian Diallo is not connected to the case, but says the people's motion is too severe.
And as a defense attorney, I would argue strenuously and vigorously for her being able to have contact, maybe not with the father now. You can cut that off if that's what you feel has been violated, but don't cut off her only means of communicating with the outside world.
In a response, Bryant's lawyer claims neither the mother nor her defense team had been served a written copy of the court's bond order. The defense claims the mom misunderstood the court statement on the record and didn't realize there was a blanket prohibition from speaking to her father. Meanwhile, questions mount surrounding the case.
Somebody needs to say something about how these kids just were languishing for years, right? No.
Yeah, this is the House of Horrors of Michigan. House of Horrors, Michigan mom leaves 3 kids to live in filth for 4 to 5 years. Now, neglect and abandonment is what she's charged with, and she's facing life in prison. This is just episode 1 of House of Horrors, guys. I've got at least 3 other cases that I've seen recently with all demographics of people doing this. I don't know how that slips by, guys. I really don't. And Rebecca, happy Friday. Yeah, Mystic Moon says her grandfather has them at least did as soon as they were medically released. And we're going to catch up to present day here sooner or later.
No birthday, no Christmas, no Easter. Nobody asked where the kids are?
They did, but...
And we did get a hold of the defense team, but we were told they had no comment. They do believe that there should be no contact with the children, but as for the overall restriction with communication overall, that's something they are challenging. Meanwhile, Bryant is expected to appear in court later this month. We're reporting live tonight. Shantae Passmore, Local 4.
All right, our other top.
All right, now you guys, here's a major trigger warning because I have the video footage thanks to News Nation. Most of the videos that you've seen on here, and we're gonna watch one that's from Long Crime, like 26 minutes. They have everything blurred out. This is not blurred out. Dawn Grandma 3 says, I have seen this case before. It was not me. I have not covered this case yet. I am so grateful to have the time right now to be covering a case a day, you guys. I love the justice that we've been doing and trying to get for Madeline Soto. But guys, there's so many other cases that I've been literally dying to cover. So thank you guys for being here and supporting what I'm doing and this channel. I know everyone wants to see Madeline Soto coverage, but all of these children deserve justice. All right. So I'm so grateful that I can be that person to do that. All right. Trigger warning. If you're eating, put your food down.
Deplorable and intolerable, even for an animal. You better brace yourself. And I'll say that again in case you think I'm exaggerating. Brace yourself. This is a bad one. The pictures deserve a graphic warning.
Yeah, guys.
The story came to light at the end of last week in a Detroit suburb of Pontiac, Michigan. Oakland County Sheriff's deputies found 3 children in this house in these conditions. A 15-year-old boy and 2 girls aged 12 and 13. Their mother had left them in that home to fend for themselves almost 5 years ago. Do the math. They would have been 10, 8, and 7. That fact alone is mind-boggling, but so is this. They existed on weekly drop-offs of food from Instacart and DoorDash. But towards
I don't know how nobody was notified. It's so interesting and it's appalling. Now, there's no trial date set yet. All right. But it is heading to trial. And when it does, I'll make sure to let you guys know. But again, if you're eating something, put it down. Synth, if you're eating something, I suggest you stop eating for a minute because this is terrible. She bought the food, but what happened was the reason she got caught after 4 or 5 years is she stopped paying the rent there, guys. So then this is not just a straightforward this happened or that happened. Many things happened in between and around. The family did speak out on this case, and they did reach out to her. They just never, that I know of, went over there and checked, or we wouldn't be in this predicament.
Towards the end of that 5-year ordeal, the food that was dropped off ended up being a loaf of bread. Obviously, somebody also was paying the rent on that house until they stopped. That happened last October. And it was therefore the landlord who called the sheriff's office for a welfare check. By then, of course, those children's welfare was all but non-existent. Their house was overrun with garbage.
All right, many channels blurred this out, and I don't like things blurred out. You guys know, if I could be on a platform all the time that I could bring you guys with and still show you what is really happening, because we all like that, right? That's why we go over to Netflix and watch the Jeffrey Dahmer documentary and all that, because we want to know what's happening. So there you go. This one and all these other pictures are just trigger warning. Goldilocks, TGIF. That's right.
And feces and mold. Their clothes were filthy. Their hair was matted. And just so you know the extent of the neglect, their toenails were so long they could barely walk. Their last delivery of anything related to personal hygiene was a half-decade ago and was only a box of trash bags, some gloves, and a can of air freshener. 5 years ago. They hadn't been to school since 2020, and the two girls apparently hadn't been outside that house in years.
And that mom must not have gone over there at all, you guys. She must have just had DoorDash come, drop it off at the door, and they bring it in. She must not have checked at all, because I don't know why you would think that would be a good situation for the longevity of things. She must have known that somebody was going to complain, and it stacks up. The reason they did complain finally was because she didn't pay rent, but don't think that other people didn't intervene. They just didn't do anything about it. That's the sad part.
Tonight, the children's 34-year-old mother is in custody, as she should be.
Yeah.
But it begs the question, where was everybody else? Where was the father? Where were the schools? What about the neighbors? How could this nightmare have gone on for so long? Joining me now is the Oakland County Sheriff, Michael Bouchard. Sheriff, thank you so much for being here. I literally can't even.
Yeah, we're going to listen to him for a bit. I didn't want to play the full press conference in case you guys already watched this on Grizzly or somewhere else, but I do really love when members only is all lit up and green. And if you guys have questions, feel free to address me. That's why we're doing members only chat, because then I can see you. If it's somebody's birthday, you guys, make sure you let me know so I can shout them out. That way, if you guys are watching this on the TV and I'm up there, I can say happy birthday or whatever. Just get my attention, okay, guys? I appreciate you guys. I remember correctly, the mom decided to live with the boyfriend. The boyfriend wasn't aware of this, and it's been a while. Glad Jay's streaming this. Wonder what was the update was. That's what it is. We're getting up to date, and trial is coming. No dates are set yet, but this is what we're talking about. This is Oakland County in Michigan, I guess. I thought when I saw Oakland County, I was like, hey, I'm by Oakland, but it's a different one. It's not in California. It's in Michigan. All right. Hey, iParrot. Good to see you.
Believe, as I read those details again, that I'm reading fact. How are the children right now, and where are they?
So we took them immediately out of the home once we discovered them, took them to medical care, and then involved our Child Protective Services. And they have been placed temporarily with relatives that were unaware of what was going on. And we have a lot more scheduled for them this week. We've got a much more detailed health and mental health examination of them. We've already done a kind of a psychological question kind of thing with a care house, kid gloves treatment to try to figure out what they're feeling, what they know, things like that. Thankfully, they're responding very well. our detectives said when they saw them at the care house interview that they were chatty. And obviously when we first encountered them, it was nothing.
Yeah, they are going to need lots of therapy. Mel, good to see you guys. Don't forget, hit the like button and comment, because we're going to give away a Foxy box after this. And you don't want to miss a chance to get a Foxy box. You can't buy them, but you can win them. I love this stuff. I'm still looking at, I'm literally, I don't know if I'm going to ruin the surprise, but I still have the, some of these things that Foxy put in the box. They're little like penis confetti. So yeah, I'm going to have penis confetti for the rest of my life in here because of the Foxy box. Thanks, Foxy. You know how much I love that penis, Foxy.
Nothing like that. The girls were actually hiding in a locked bathroom.
How is their development, given the fact that this is almost half their life? They've lived alone as young children with no adult care. I mean, and just no love.
Yeah, it's horrendous. It's really difficult to wrap your head around this case. I've been in this business a very long time and seen horrific things, horrific murders, horrific child abuse. But this is a terrible one that was magnified by how long it went on over the period of years to not have an adult or any love or any structure, any education, none of that. And so, it's just really difficult to wrap your head around. But we're doing everything we can to set them up on a better path. The community has responded and filled our sheriff's office with clothing for them, and they're making donations. We're going to set us to try to get them, a fund for their health, both physical and mental health, and maybe some educational funds set aside for them.
Sheriff, the obvious question is, you've arrested the mother. I understand you can't reveal her name because she shares a last name with these children. What is her response? Is she talking? Why on earth would anyone do this?
Yeah, she's been talking to our investigators, but so far no reason for this. And, it's one of those things. How do you even come up with a reason for this? When you watch the television.
Yeah, you can't. She knew what she was doing. You can't be you can't say your mental health did that for 5 years. You were hiding it. When you hide something, and yeah, you guys know. But yeah, Foxy, if you can put in chat what the stipulations are on winning a Foxy box, she knows better than I do. Leanne, if it is your birthday today, happy birthday. If you're just joshing me, happy birthday anyway, since you said that. I could use a Foxy box. It's been a while. Oh, iParrot, thank you so much for the $5 super chat, Jay. You're the best. Thank you. You guys are the best. I love you guys. We're going to do more House of Horror, so stay tuned, guys, because there's a lot of these cases, and you don't know. Somebody could be living right next to you that you don't know, and maybe you guys would smell it, but who knows? I don't know how they did that.
Ads showing dogs and cats in a deplorable condition that evoke that heartstring where you want to contribute to them. Imagine that times 10. And then do it over a period of years to children. So it's really difficult to kind of wrap your arms around this, but we're going to do everything we can to wrap our arms around those kids and to make sure, quite frankly, that this mother is held accountable.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen.
And there's the positive potato, you guys. So just a little bit to make you smile. All right, now we're going to get into this. This was May 22nd, 2025, less than a month ago. We should be up to speed now once I pull up this clip, and we'll get into this. All right, let me take a look at the chat. Make sure you guys aren't saying anything that I missed. There's the positive potato. Rosie, thank you so much for the 99-cent super sticker. Maybe her boyfriend would not have wanted a girlfriend. Exactly. Thank you for saying that, Anu, because many times, and I don't know why, I have no idea why a woman would put a man or anybody before their children, because us mama bears don't do that. I know that. All right. Ryan Hawkins, what's up? Good to see you, my man. Is this the only guy in chat? Is this the only male in chat? All right. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, no DoorDash drops and leaves. Ashton, I hate to tell you, my friend. I hate to tell you, but DoorDash does drop and leave. They do. All of them do. We do DoorDash. We do Amazon groceries, and they all drop and leave. Lynette, happy Friday, my friend. I'm so looking forward to today. I've been looking forward to it all week. And Monday was a holiday. All right, let's go. Let me bring this back here so we don't miss anything.
Prosecutors say 34-year-old Kelli Bryant didn't just neglect her children, she sacrificed them. That's the word she allegedly used when speaking to investigators. Pictures show the children lived in a home filled with feces and trash, allegedly communicating with Bryant only through text messages and receiving food about once a week. I'm Kennedy Walker, and I'll walk you through the disturbing details laid out in court. Police say this is the Michigan home where 3 children were abandoned for.
All right, let me tell you something real quick. You know what? 2020 changed everything, guys. And happy birthday, Lynette. If it's your birthday, Lynette, happy birthday. 2020, you guys know the world changed in 2020 with COVID, and somebody just said contactless drop off. That's right. They didn't do that before, but they sure do that now. They have no problem with dropping and going after COVID. This started in 2019 and 2020 She rented the place in 2019, dropped the kids off in 2020, and she got caught February 14th, 2025. All right. So yes, 2020 contactless, absolutely. Happy birthday, Leanne. Enjoy your special day. I know, Leanne, you're in the UK, so I think you're a day ahead. I think it is your birthday already. Happy birthday, Nat. Thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate you. All right, I go back to work Monday from being off for surgery. I'm sad, but I need to pay bills. Like us all, my friend. I hope that you're recovering well, and it'll be good to go back. Go hang out with the peeps. All right, let's go.
For years, confined to rooms with mold and human waste.
It's just crushing, soul crushing on so many levels.
Authorities in Oakland County say the children, a 15-year-old boy and 2 girls, ages 12 and 13, were discovered after the family's landlord requested a welfare check. He hadn't heard from their mother, 34-year-old Kelli Bryant, in months. Inside, deputies say they found garbage piled up to 4 feet high. The home was so filthy, officers reportedly had to wear hazmat suits and masks. According to police, the toilet was overflowing.
See, they blurred that out there. So for your sake, now it's gone. Now it's blurred out. But I don't know if many of you saw this when it went down, but this took quite a few people with hazmat suits, you guys, to clean this up. I don't know what they're doing with that place. What's up, Michelle? Happy Friday and weekend. And yeah, shout out to you, Leanne. I'm so glad that you're celebrating your birthday with us first. All right, let me get that nasty thing off the screen. Yes, I need out of the house. Yes, other than physical therapy. Yes, your mental space, not just yours, but anybody that stays home too much. I feel like getting out is a good thing. So I just hope you're feeling better. Yeah, they were 15, 13, and 12. All right, but they started 5 years before that. Imagine that.
Bathtub was filled with feces, and the rooms officials say were unlivable. Police allege Bryant left the children alone for nearly 5 years. Investigators also say the boy slept on a mattress. The 2 girls slept on pizza boxes. They survived off weekly food deliveries their mom made, ordered through DoorDash and Instacart, all according to police.
You wouldn't do this to an animal, let alone your child.
The children hadn't been to school since 2020, and investigators say the 2 girls hadn't stepped outside in years.
COVID played a little part in the disconnect potentially with schools and school communications. In 2020, the mother dropped off some trash bags, gloves, and Febreze, and that was about the last thing related to hygiene.
Deputies say their hair was matted, their clothing filthy, and their toenails were so overgrown they struggled to walk.
I also found a video after this, a cleanup video that I've never seen before, guys. And you're absolutely right, Carolina. Not even animals could live in that environment, just like I said. Yeah, I will say that. That wasn't fit for anybody or anything. And I wish that she would be held accountable for every single child and all the damage, the people that cleaned up, the inside, the damage she did. You know what? She's an animal, not a person. You're right, Em. Synth, remember, she would sit outside for hours watching them and would call and yell at them for saying anything through a slit in the window. Thank you for reminding us. All right. HC teacher, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. And my girl, Leanne, what's up? What's up? Up in arms, baby. Up in arms.
Also revealed how the family allegedly communicated. The children reportedly hadn't seen or touched their mother in years and primarily spoke to her through text. Investigators say in her son's phone, Bryant was saved as world's greatest mom. In hers, the children were listed as my oldest, kid 1, and kid 2.
Thing 1 and thing 2
made her first in-person court appearance Friday. Detectives say she admitted to hurting her children and told them she sacrificed them. They also noted what stood out during that initial interview, her appearance.
Her hair was done. She was wearing what appeared to be new clothes that were clean. She had long fake nails. And
those look like Freddy Krueger, you guys. I'm sorry. If any of you guys get your nails done, I'm not saying anything bad towards you, but we know she's a demon. She's like, she reminds me of the demon that's on trial, just the way she looks. That Maxwell Anderson has that look in his face that's disgusting. But those nails look like Freddy Krueger, man. I have a Freddy Krueger glove, and I think hers might be longer even than that. So again, you're not Kelli Bryant, and if you have long nails, hey, all good. You're not her. Those are just, she was so worried about her nails and her pink outfit that she couldn't even take care of her children. But you guys know what? The only good thing that came out of this, I gotta say, is those children are alive. Many times when I report to you, the people in the situation are long gone, dismembered, whatever. I'm so glad that they're alive and they can get the help. All right. Nanaska says, I never understood those nails. How do you use them in the bathroom? Anybody that has long nails in chat, how the heck do you use a bathroom? Do you have to use a bidet? Frank, my man, I do think she threatened the children. I think they were afraid. Absolutely. Let's go.
And to see the contradiction between what I observed all 3 of her children to look in their appearance when I arrived on scene to then see her in her condition was somewhat jarring.
Bryant's defense team argued that because the kids weren't physically harmed, it wasn't a child abuse case. But the prosecution pushed back, saying the children were neglected and didn't know how to use a toothbrush or even flush a toilet. The judge ultimately ruled the case can move forward to trial. Bryant previously pleaded not guilty to the child abuse charges and remains held on a $50,000 bond. And joining me to talk more about this is victims' rights lawyer John Phillips. John, thank you so much for coming on today. Let's just jump right in. What a truly disturbing story.
And you guys, a thing about when we cover cases of a child is we don't get to do a background check or look into them. So I would assume that they were attending school before all this debauchery, but they haven't over 4 or 5 years. Obviously, they didn't leave the house. So I can't look into them because they don't give names, thank God, of the children. All right. Lisa says, why not give them up if you don't want them? Makes no sense. I'll tell you, because she was doing welfare fraud. She also is being charged for welfare fraud. She had kids. She had 4 of them, popped the kids out and collected the check. Although, guys, I can't understand why anybody would do that, because I've seen the amount that you get from a check, and it's not, it doesn't even amount to what you would spend on your child on a normal basis, shoes, school clothes, food, unless you're not taking care of them. So when somebody has kids just to keep popping them out and collecting welfare, as she did, no shame to anybody that needs assistance from the government, but there were 4 children. The 4th one she gave to his dad, or he or she's dad, and the other 3 she collected welfare and left him in the house. Again, she was charged with welfare fraud. So I'm not just like making this up. Oh, she's on welfare. No, she really was. And she was cashing those checks getting her Freddy Krueger nails done, buying some nasty little outfits, and just going on with her day. All right. Shame on her.
Hear that this mom allegedly left her kids in these conditions for nearly 5 years. What's your initial reaction from a legal standpoint?
Oh goodness. From a dad standpoint, from a legal standpoint, from a humanitarian standpoint, it's just awful. You know, these kids were left in squalor, neglected, you know, every aspect of this was just unfit for, as a parent, as a human, under the eyes of the law. It's just disgraceful.
And I mean, we're talking about children who were allegedly sleeping on pizza boxes, weren't receiving education, no hygiene. Bryant is charged with 3 counts of first-degree child abuse. How many years is she facing?
So she was getting for each child probably $300 a month. I'm going to assume that for the fourth child, since she gave the fourth child to the dad, that she wasn't getting it. But that's quite a bit, because that's just in food stamps. That's not even the regular money. Again, it's still not enough if you're taking care of your child properly. A lot of people know that. All right. And again, no shame to anybody that needs assistance, but shame to her and shame on her. You say hoochie nails, but not coochie friendly. You got to get the toilet paper with your nails and then do the magic. All right. You can get $600 to $700 per kid. Well, she's getting charged for that too. All right. It was said in the chat room, she told the school that they moved to their dads. All right. We'll listen to, after this, I do want to show you what the neighbors had to say, because you guys are like, how did the neighbors not see this? I'm asking the same thing.
Facing if she is convicted.
Yeah. Well, you know, adding the 3 kids, the 3 counts of first degree, I'd have to go back to the exact guidelines, but for her age, it's the equivalent of what would be life in prison.
Yes, give it to her.
Life as she knows
it. Give it to her.
You know, I think it's 20 to 25. I'd have to look exactly, but this is, you know, this would be the equivalent of a life sentence if she's convicted on all 3, and the evidence certainly is overwhelming.
I want to thank Odoo for sponsoring this news package. Odoo is an...
Thanks, Odoo.
It's literally...
All right, Odoo.
Is it 20 to 25 for each count or altogether?
Correct. Yes. It would be for each count. Yes. And these are 3 individual, you know, humans, so they wouldn't... A judge potentially could run them, you know, you can run them concurrent, which is all at the same time, or consecutive, which is one on top of the other. And again, I'd have to look at the particular state here, but my understanding is these can run consecutive.
Absolutely. And it's clear that these children slip through the cracks. The questions I have are like, where's the dad? Where are their other...
Right. And we're trying to answer the questions right now, guys. And if you guys do me a favor, guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. If anybody does have a case suggestion, I am working through them. I promise. I know lots of people have been sending case suggestions, and I do appreciate it. guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com. Send them over, please. Let me and the mods cover this. The mods help me do the research. Otherwise, I couldn't do a case a day. I just don't have the capacity by myself. All right. Under the Mystic Moon says she had to be on Section 8, able to pay rent all the years. And something must have happened when she stopped paying it. All right. Yeah. Thank you, Synth. If you have case suggestions, please let me know.
Other family members, neighbors, but police say that the extended family, they did not know what was going on. But besides that, the children, they had not been in school since 2020, which was the height of the pandemic, as we all know. How does something like that go unnoticed for so long?
Thank you.
You know, we live in a world where, you know, children are getting sex trafficked, and major hotels have, you know, human trafficking and a host of things going on. So, you know, we miss obvious things, but, you know, when this story first came out, there was a lot of alibis and stories that she came up with to keep the family at bay, to keep them with some level of understanding that, okay, they're with their dad now, or they're here, they're there. Yes. That's why they're missing family dinners. But, you know, again, if you haven't seen your grandchild, if you haven't seen your child, if you haven't seen your cousin in several years, at some point you would think a family member would be like, yeah, but it's been 4 years, and then like I know the neighbors, some of the neighbors were interviewed and said that they didn't notice really anything going on. But it just, people need to be more diligent and vigilant, about looking out for abuse and things like this. It's just awful.
Absolutely. And just speaking of the schools, with them not being in school for a few years, do you think someone at the school district should have flagged that earlier, like when attendance dropped off or no one was picking up calls?
You would think, kids are expected, and the law requires them to go to school. During COVID, there was a lot of transition. There was a lot of homeschooling. There was things that, kids were being held back.
Yeah, a lot of things COVID did a lot of damage, right, to everybody. But you're right, Carolina. It is beyond horrific. I'm going to show some footage I've never seen, and hopefully you've never seen, of the cleanup, and it will show you a little bit more what we're talking about here, right? Absolutely. Best mods on YouTube. I agree. Thank you, ladies.
There, like, so much was going on that we didn't stop and have a checks and balances of all these kids when we all started back. It was like, all right, frantic, let's get back going, turn the emergency light back on and let's go. Yep. And, you would think there wouldn't be 3 children that got lost in the shuffle, and just didn't go back, and we're living in, squalor where the mom's just having groceries delivered to barely feed her children. Nobody expects stories like this to exist except in horror novels.
Absolutely. But is there any legal obligation, though, for schools or child services to step in when a student vanishes like that?
No.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. If you saw some of these things and you're listening to that, you're absolutely right. Again, it is a miracle. And we do want to say this case is a blessing because the children are still alive. All right. What's up, Carrie? Good to see you, my friend. Look at I got just for you, the positive potato. Actually, you got that for me. So thank you. All right. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate you. All right, let's get more cases, guys. A case a day.
Sovereign immunity is different state by state. So, how a municipality can be liable, but, there's no affirmative duty for DCF or a school to necessarily go and investigate. Some school districts have, truancy officers and entire police departments, and they might have noticed this. This jurisdiction clearly didn't. And if anybody gets on here and can adequately explain how 3 children can go missing and live day after day, year after year in a home without, sunlight and without, leaving and seeing the light of day, they're better than I am, because it makes no sense how this happened year after year. And all the people, like even the mailman, like how did all of these folks, all the neighbors, all the schools,
yeah, everybody failed those children. Yeah, you're right, Mystic Moon. In that neighborhood, people don't say anything. They see stuff and they mind their own business, which I understand neighborhoods like that. My neighborhood is not like that, but I understand those that do that. But when I cover other House of Horror cases, guys, those neighborhoods are not necessarily like that. And how do these people get away with it? It feels like it's just it slipped between the cracks, but how? I just don't know. Because negativity ain't nothing but a thing but a chicken wing. This is also from Carrie. Carrie, it has a funny sense of humor. We got the chicken wing and the positive potato. Gotta love the toys, right? All right. You have mail. More urgent for Grish, though. All right. Let's keep going.
The people that handle electricity, like whatever it is, how did they all miss this?
Right. And despite all of the evidence that police and the prosecution claim that they have, the defense is already arguing that the children weren't physically or mentally harmed.
Yeah.
Does that hold any weight with the judge or jury in this case?
Look, if you have the facts on your side, you argue the facts. If you have the law on your side, you argue the law. If the old adage is if you don't have either, you just argue. And I think some of that is just they've got to stick with what they've got, that it doesn't fit under the law of child abuse because they were.
Well, look at her mugshot. She looks all like let me fix my hair. And then she smirks. I really hope she doesn't get out. Remember Shanda Vander Ark starving her son and having her other son help starve her son? Remember the Vander Arks? Straight up neglect, and it caused his death, guys. So I am very grateful that I'm not reporting on deaths today. When I do members only type of chats, I always try to do something that's a little more positive, and it is because they're still alive. But the other cases that I have to cover in the House of Horrors, not so much, guys. Not so much. And you guys are gonna be a lot more pissed off. A lot more pissed off.
Were provided for in some fashion. That said, the law requires children to go to school and receive an education and have sanitary places to live and be fed with actually nutritious food, not just delivery and not sleeping on pizza boxes. And so, there's clearly enough to establish child neglect. Is it first degree? I think so, like evidence like the fact that they were saved not by their names, but, kid one. There's just so much that showed that these were just nuisances to her life, and she was spending more time on her own vanity and herself than these children she brought into this world.
If you could just explain more about what the actual law says, though, that the defense is trying to argue about not being physically harmed.
All right, so let's hear this because this is the defense that's going to head into trial. Vanessa Maldonado, thank you so much, my friend. I appreciate that. You guys support my channel every single day, all the time. The members that are here in chat, so thank you. I appreciate it. All right, they don't give out the children's name because they're minors. All right, and Lady for Justice, I'm so glad you got your package. You got a blanket, right? I've got my blanket too, and I haven't got to use it at all because it got stolen from me immediately. And Carolina, Shanda Vander Ark starved her 15-year-old autistic son, thank you, Timothy Ferguson, with help of 20-year-old Paul Ferguson. I watched every single part of that case, and I watched the trial and all that. Maybe someday I'll cover it on this if you guys want to watch a throwback. They're both in prison for a long time. All right,
like, what are they trying to argue there? Because maybe she may not have hit them, but what about just mental or emotional damage? Is that just harder to prove in court?
No, I mean, abuse under the law is defined as both physical, emotional, and mental, but we're so used to thinking of child abuse in the physical sense or severe emotional sense that the day-to-day atrocities of what happened here aren't as clear by precedent, right? Like this case hasn't happened over and over again, thank God, but it's still within the definition of things that are materially harmful to a child, which is the whole point of the child abuse statute and how it's written. It's not limited to somebody that hits their child, because even if somebody spanks their child, that may or may not be child abuse. If somebody degrades their child.
They shouldn't even show this picture, but I guess it just makes you even more mad knowing these are the pictures she was posting on social media while her children were being forced to eat anything that they had. They weren't able to cook, so they were just eating whatever. There was feces everywhere, mats in their hair. I'm sure they were terrible. Their toes, their nails were so long, it was hard for them to walk, guys. And this demon over there is doing this. What is she posing for? What is that? What is she doing? I thought she went and left with her boyfriend. Is this for her boyfriend? Is she trying to... Anyway, you can see Facebook. It says he say, Kels. Now, when this first started, I did look back at that. I don't know if social media is still up. Tiff, let me know in chat or in my text messages if you saw anything, if her social media is still up. I'm curious. There's a place in hell for people like her, and there's so many more people like her as well.
For, striking out. You shouldn't have done that, but that may or may not be child abuse depending upon how it's done. But from a standpoint of, looking at all of the evidence, here there's day after day after day after day. And those are the easiest cases, as whether a victim's advocate or as a prosecutor, to look at and say, okay, this is abuse, because this wasn't one incident that you can say, all right, I had a bad day, or I used too much force on the child's butt. This is systemic and
right.
affected their emotional, their physical, and mental health.
Absolutely. And, prosecutors, they did point out that the kids, they didn't even know how to use basic tools for hygiene, allegedly. No idea how to flush a toilet or how to use a toothbrush. How much does that support their case?
Absolutely.
I didn't realize
we as parents have an obligation to teach our children, how to function in day-to-day life and how to function with other people. I took my kids to a concert this weekend, and they saw people that were acting crazy and acting a fool.
Right.
And me as a parent, I've said, well, this is how you're not supposed to act, right? But if you keep kids locked up and they have no, the saddest part is these kids outside life, like they had a real life. And then all of a sudden now they're basically in not solitary confinement, but the three of them are basically imprisoned in this, in this home, in this residence. And, they were treated worse than what federal and state law requires us to treat our inmates. And so, that alone is stuff that prosecutors can certainly present to a jury and a judge, saying, look, this is abuse just based upon, its systemic nature, and the fact that, you parents have an obligation to teach children, like brushing their teeth, right? Like there's other things besides keeping your teeth hygiene clean, keeping your breath fresh. It affects your
Now it's like she didn't teach them to do certain things, because you ask about power and water. I mean, why didn't they just use, and there's no victim blaming, but what I'm saying is, when you look at this, she obviously didn't teach them even to use the toilet properly, because they would have been able to use the toilet, flush it, whatever. Maybe they wouldn't know how to clean, but when you see the bathtub full of feces and you see the toilet like that, I mean, was it plugged? What happened? Why did it even come to that? It's because nobody cleaned it. Did it get clogged and they just they started putting it off in the shower? I just can't comprehend this level of neglect, you guys. I really can't. I know it was 5 years, but how did that come to be? Like, what was going on there? I have no idea. Jennifer Blair, thank you so much for the $4.99 super sticker. I appreciate you. She's a lazy cow. I don't get it. If they knew how to that's what I'm saying, is I don't understand they didn't tell either. I mean, I think she kept them in fear. A 15-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 12-year-old. And when I say that, it means they said that she didn't even teach them to brush their teeth. All right. Yeah. The 15-year-old's the boy. Stephanie, thank you for everything you do. Love your channel. Great mods in chat. Thankful for my membership. You're very welcome. All right. What are you asking, Foxy? I see a question mark. All right. Love you too, girl. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right. I want to get to the nasty other videos.
Cardiac health. It affects your digestive system. Like there's so many things that if you're just, letting children just rot on the inside, that's just abuse. It's neglect. It's awful.
And just speaking more just about the potential mental abuse there. I mean, here we go. The kids, they hadn't been outside, or, they didn't know to call and get, what do you say to that, especially with the son being 15 and his
There it
two
is.
daughters that were 12 and 13? The son did have a cell phone.
See?
No one's blaming him here, but what do you think made him not call police, not call for help, knowing that they were, according to police, being abused?
Victims, get in a mindset where they fear, fear and grooming combined creates the ideal victim. And so you have a child that has a trusting relationship with a parent, and anything, they've been raised by this parent. They look at this parent as doing no wrong.
Disgusting.
No wrong. They don't know the law. They don't know what's supposed to happen. They don't know what's going on with other people. And so, and they don't have access to television and other sources of outside world to be able to say, oh, whoa, that's how it's supposed to happen. So I'm not supposed to be sleeping on a pizza box. So I'm not supposed to be, defecating in a corner. So I'm frankly not supposed to be, all three of us going through, pre-puberty and puberty together.
And not even knowing anything about it. And yeah, the Turpins, you remember that, Foxy? That was, I believe they lived in a home, and was it Palmdale or Lancaster? The Turpins ended up buying a home. And I remember this because it was in the area where I used to be, Palmdale, Lancaster. Now I know Foxy knows that area all too well. And Gloria, Fritz, thank you so much. You guys are awesome today. You guys, thank you for the gifting the 5 Guilty of Crime memberships. I hope somebody that wants to get in chat and get in on the Foxy box today. That's awesome. Thank you. Was it Riverside? Okay. It's in that area that I am very familiar with. All right, let's keep going.
In some weird, situation. And so, again, just because the kid has access to the tools, they have to know how to use it, and they have to have something break their trust bond with their,
she does look bold.
With the perpetrator, with the abuser, that children just don't know to do. A child will stay in an abusive relationship until somebody pulls them away. Like they don't know that that's not natural or normal.
Right. And we don't know what type of health issues this could have caused or will cause down the line. I mean, the fact that police are saying that 2 of the kids hadn't been outside in years, we know that can lead to vitamin D deficiencies and other issues. How does that play into the charges?
Yeah, I mean, they're just going to take a big, microscopic look at all the small things and the macro, the big view over it, and lay out a case that this was both. This is going to tremendously affect their normal, right? We're all rolling around in a bubble, and that's defined mostly by what we learn from our parents and what we learn in school. And so that, if you're born in Alabama, you're going to be a little different than the person born in California. If you're born to, parents that are you're going to be a little different than ones born in a Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, I was going to say that, Lady for Justice. On a side note, can't 5 CPS reports be considered systematic abuse? Sebastian case, right? I agree with that, absolutely. Oh, what about the P-Dale? Oh, you know what's up, Ashton. This bitch, man, happy birthday. I hope you're enjoying your birthday packages. I hope she's eating the gel food. I hope nobody's giving her commissary. She does not deserve anything.
Sanders or, liberal household. And so that's their bubble. Well, their normal was this, their normal was abuse, their normal was neglect, severe neglect. And, they had some measure by all parts of the story to normal, but what we don't know is how the mom justified this to her kids. It may be that the pandemic ended the world as they know it, like what was the gain for her doing this other than, money, other than saving money and using on her own. I still don't understand that part of the story. Just is she such a narcissist and so selfish that this was her only option, short of, eliminating the lives of these children? And
I think someone was right earlier when they said, I bet you the boyfriend that she was with at the time did not want anybody with children. I'm gonna bet you that the motivation was money, and also her selfishness of wanting some man that didn't want children. I'm gonna almost bet on that. And yeah, fear. Those children had to have been completely in fear. All right. Never gonna bash your hometown. I also grew up in that area for 14 years, Ashton. Nobody but a bash Palmdale. Palmdale, Lancaster, Antelope Valley. All right. This is one people we should abandon in prison. And I hope she eats prison food every single day. Now, she's not in prison yet, but she's headed there.
It's so confounding and horrible.
Right. And that's what the prosecution is arguing, just trying to get down to the bottom of this, because they mentioned that when she came in for her initial interview to be questioned, they were very shocked to see what she looked like, just because of what they found in the home and the conditions of the children. The children allegedly had matted hair. They didn't have any hygiene. There was feces and just horrible things. And when they saw Miss Bryant, they said her hair was done. She had fake nails. She had clothes that seemed to be washed or brand new. So they were just very confused about that. But let's talk about intent. Does the prosecution have to prove that Miss Bryant intended to harm her kids?
Not typically in child abuse, so it just kind of depends on the level of the abuse. You don't necessarily, if it's a one-off, if it's a spanking type incident, it depends on the level of damage as to whether you need to prove intent. If you're spanking somebody and you break a bone, you don't have to prove that there was an intent to break the bone. You can show that there was enough damage that it manifested its own intent. Here, you don't have to prove Miss Bryant's intent to abuse or harm her children. The neglect and the nature of the neglect and the duration of the neglect substitutes for intent. Certainly I think they'll be able to show some level of intent just by the nature of the neglect. The neglect is the intent, because she knew better than that, as humans, we all know that we shouldn't treat animals. You wouldn't treat a den of puppies like she treated her own children. And so there is intent manifested within.
Absolutely. And when we see the trial, Leanne, I'm pretty sure they're going to have the boyfriend. I can't imagine them not having her boyfriend testify. He's going to be a major player in this because she was with him. She was with him on social media, I'm sure. She was with him the whole time. She dipped on her children. She got the place, rented it, put her children there, got rid of the first child, and then went and lived her life with him. So I do wonder I wonder what he's going to say about all this. If he didn't even know that she had kids, he will turn up. All right, Jay, wonder how Jumpsuit Pablo would read her time in prison. It would be nice to hear that on this, huh? Let's ask Jumpsuit. All right, we got some more grossness coming up. I want to see part of the cleanup that I haven't seen.
Within her own actions and within the nature of the neglect, because it's so absurd and obscene. But it's not like a premeditated murder case where they have to prove that she intended or planned to commit neglect. The fact that she did for so long is part and parcel to the crime.
And let's talk about Miss Bryant's alleged statements. We heard in court that Bryant allegedly told police that she sacrificed her children. That's a pretty loaded statement. So how would that hold up in court?
Yeah, you run into some of these cases where there's elements of, so on one end you have kind of people that are religious zealots or have religious beliefs that can go into abuse.
Yeah, those are pretty nice looking. They look like condos to me, but they're probably apartments in Michigan. Over here, we would call those condos. They look pretty nice. I mean, they look nice from the outside. Nothing, nothing bad. You cannot tell from the outside what the inside look like at all. And Rebecca, I'm sure we're going to be able to FOIA the jail calls only because I remember the Shonda Vander Ark case. You remember all those calls with baby girl? What was that Zav girl and the baby girl? I can't remember. I always forget the son's name. I know Timothy Ferguson. They took his life, but this is the same prison. So, or she will be going to that same prison. She doesn't look nothing like them pics. No, she doesn't.
That's not really what she's saying here. To my understanding, two is people that just have levels of mental illness. Not insanity, not something that would get you released, but levels where, you've justified this, whether by perception, meaning you're faking the justification, or reality because you think this is what's in their best interest. And then there's just, again, something so obscene as this, that she's going to, go back to arguing the facts or the law. She's just going to argue. They're just going to say whatever they can to try to diminish the nature and extent of this abuse. And so just, just saying that this was her way to adequately house and shelter her children. Okay, that's your side of the story. Now let's, like, the prosecutors and police are going to say, okay, now let's talk about that. This is something that we know we can't even treat, the simplest of animals, like this. And so, it won't fly very far.
And just moving forward to the trial, how emotional do these types of cases tend to be in court? Do jurors usually get swayed by the conditions? I mean, the photos, they were so horrible to see, but just the photos, the smell descriptions, even the toenail detail, police saying that the children, their toenails were so long that they could barely walk. How do you think that that's going to play out?
Yeah, this is one that, the police are going to be probably the main presenting, witnesses, and go through the conditions and the photos of what they've seen. It may be that they call one of the children, or two or three of the children, but you don't want them up there that long. One, because they're probably going to take their mom's side at some point on cross-examination, because they don't know what the normal conditions are supposed to be, but they certainly can testify and have, to some extent, told investigators about some of the things that they experienced. But again, this was their normal. But these cases get wildly emotional anytime you've got a case with a child victim. It's usually a very difficult case for the defense, because, as a prosecutor or a victims' rights lawyer, you want as many parents on that jury as possible. And any, even remotely reasonable, remotely caring parent is going to look at this and draw conclusions pretty quick. And, if you try jury cases.
So that was their bed, guys. I'm going to show you. I just went to Facebook and pulled up an article, and they actually have a picture of one of the children and the grandfather. And they say they exposed the grandfather. He did a food giveaway for other people while those three children were being neglected. Why didn't they step in and say, where are the children? I'm really confused about that. And I wonder how the case is going to proceed with family members and people that knew about it or lived in the proximity. Why didn't anybody do anything? The defense is going to be, at least they were sheltered. Shake my head. Wow, it's crazy. All right, let me, this is almost done. I'm going to put on, I want to show you Facebook real quick.
You really don't want, the justice wants you to draw your conclusions after the end of the evidence, but here pretty quickly, as soon as those photos start and, children left alone. I mean, we've seen cases where children have been left alone for hours, mere hours, 2 to 3 hours, or allowed to go to the store, and walk back.
All right, done with that. He's right. I don't know how they lived for not 3 hours, but 4 or 5 years. Let me show you this real quick, and then we're going to watch some of the cleanup. All right, so her name on there is Kells. I don't even know what that is. It says Hee-Haw something Kells, so I looked that up. He say Kells, Pontiac Hotel. And right here, it says, my stomach turned. Look, everybody involved or who knew. All right. So the grandpa, I'm confused about what exactly that means. It says the grandpa was giving food away while they were starving, or while they were living in that. I'm sorry. That's the first time I've ever seen any of the kids. So that's the grandfather, my grandson, Shamar. He say Kells. So that's how you look her up on social media if you want to. But it's interesting that he was doing a giveaway. What? Are there pictures of where the mom lived? That's a good question. I'm looking at social media right now. I'm trying to see if I can find anything, because I'm looking it up that way, but I don't see her social media directly for some reason. Hold on. There's a lot of posts about this now, though. All right, here we go. All right, let's look at this together. All right, guys, look at her social media. Okay, I just went to her Facebook, and thank you, Tiff, for letting me know. That is her on her Facebook. What is it? The banner. All right, there's her social media still up while her children were suffering. This is what she was doing. Maybe she was on some kind of OnlyFans. I don't know, but look at this. He say Kells. There's a food giveaway, free food giveaway. Please share at Walton Park. She's February 5th. Guys, this is February 5th. On February 14th, they were discovered, the children. This is what they were doing days before. They were giving people food. What the heck? All right, this is her social media. She says, y'all ever had to be F and you hear what she's saying? Ever had to F-U-C-K and be quiet? That's what she's worried about, guys. That's her social media page. She's asking you guys if you ever had to F and be quiet. I wonder if she was on like some OnlyFans or something where because there's a lot of pictures like that where it looks like she may be selling her body or something. Maybe she just was giving it away. I don't know. But let's look a little bit further at this page together. So yeah, there you go. Food giveaway days before. All right. Look at all these pictures. She says, on this journey alone, as she goes up the stairs, where are your kids? Raw, no filters. I'm working on it. Dough. You're not working on it anymore. There you go, guys. Just what you wanted to see. Look at that. She's doing the booty shake for you guys. The cooch surfing. My goodness. All right, let's keep going. I just want to look a little bit. So they pulled that from her page. That was 2023. They obviously pulled those. Okay, I think let's see who that is. Is that her boyfriend or is it just some dude that she's hemming and hollering? I bet you that's probably her man, because why would she have that guy? Maybe he thought his daughter was taking some home and instead took it to the boyfriend. Maybe, but she was out there giving away food while her children were living in that. All right, so you guys wanted to see a little bit more about her life. There it is. All right, that's her Facebook page. Trying to twerk. Y'all on here sad and mad. Damn, I woke up in a great mood. All while her children are sitting in that house of filth. All right, then look at her there tonight. Ladies do not have blah, 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 free. So I wonder if she was there. I wonder if she was doing that too, guys. I wonder if she was like dancing or stripping somewhere, turning into a person I never thought I'd be. You know, they're using all of this, right? Look at her. Over here, I'm doing 62 miles for St. Jude while her children are at home. This is my last time saying it. I ain't got no PUSSY for anybody. Man, this lady is just twisted. All right, this is 2025, guys. This is right before she got arrested. Not looking cute. All right, nothing about there is cute. Really trying to be and not just look happy. Well, maybe you should have took care of your kids. That might have helped, huh? So yeah, something's up with this demon, right? She's all about herself, and I really hope they show the jury her entire social media. I really do. Oh, that's how you got 4 children, lady. Stop having the children. Stop doing that. I'm glad she can't have any more children, you guys, because if you guys are eating, please don't eat. She's licking those fingernails. And we know where those fingernails have been. All right. She's licking them. And oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right. I'm done looking at this. That's enough. I've had enough of that. All right. Let's take a look at some of the cleanup. That's me really big, guys. That was me giant. All right. Let's look at some of the cleanup together. All right.
This is what we going through. Excuse me. Stay with me. This is what we going through. This is the house that she kept them kids at, y'all. And I gotta clean it.
Look at that, guys.
Oh, God.
Do y'all want to take the stove and the refrigerator out?
That stove and that refrigerator need to come out.
Well, y'all can take it out. Y'all want us to take it out?
Where we gonna put it at once we take it out, sir?
Right there, yeah.
Lay it right there?
Yeah. You know those scrappers?
Yeah, but I need somebody to walk me downstairs. You want to? Have you been down there yet?
No, I ain't been down. Come on. Okay.
Ooh-wee.
Hold on.
Come on, y'all going.
Give me my mask. Where is the mask at?
She should get her ass kicked.
Yes.
Hey, where is my mask?
This is it, y'all.
I don't know.
Did you guys just see that? The walls were clawed at, you guys. There was literally claw marks going down the wall. Those children were clawing at the wall, and lots of the doors were broken and things. Like, look at what they were living in. Now, this is not even what they were living in. This has already been ripped out. People are coughing and choking with a lot of the things ripped out. I mean, what? Look at that. I'm going to go back for a second. Just see if you can see the claw marks.
This is it, y'all.
Look, right there.
I don't know.
We got a big crew with us today. Excuse me. Let me slide down here. Look at it. They was all down here.
Damn.
What you say, Uncle, a little bit? Yeah, you don't touch nothing if you ain't got no gloves on.
Don't touch nothing.
All right, let me go up here. Ooh, Lord.
What mother leaves her young kids alone in the house for 4 years?
Everybody's upset about it. Like, oh my God, this is right in our neighborhood.
Apparently, this
God.
woman, her landlord, stopped getting rent and hearing from her. So he called 911 for a welfare check.
Had no idea that there were kids there, let alone kids in grave situation.
3 children were inside, trash piled up, poop everywhere. The kids said that their mother left them there since at least 2021.
They had difficulty walking because their toenails were so long.
A despicable discovery, and the Shade Room is digging. Her Facebook post that's got people on social media on 10. I'm Justin Carter. This is TSR Investigates.
Let's go. I just wanted you guys to see.
This was their normal.
I wanted you guys to see that. I've never seen this before, so I wanted you to see. And if I didn't see it, maybe you didn't see it. So let's keep going. Don't forget, guys, hit the like button and throw a comment because we're going to give a Foxy box away after this.
Blurring out some parts, but you can see the bathroom overtaken by trash, mold, and feces. The girls, they slept on pizza boxes. They had not seen the light of day since about 2020 or 2021. But how? Where were the neighbors? Where was the school district? Their extended family members? Questions that we're getting down to the bottom of.
We went to the house to check on what was going on there and had no idea that there were kids there, let alone kids in grave situation.
Their hair was matted. They were covered in urine and feces.
When we took the kids out of the house, they had difficulty walking because their toenails were so long. They hadn't had any grooming. I don't think they had basic hygiene knowledge of what to do. They hadn't been given hygiene products for years, and toothbrushes, etc.
It was everyday life for these 3 siblings. Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard telling the Fox affiliate in Detroit that they had not attended school since their abandonment. Instead, they were locked inside this condo on Lydia Lane to never come out.
We showed up at the house. The young boy did have communication with the mom and said the police were there, and she said hide.
The 2 girls, they did hide in the bathroom until they were asked to open the door.
There was garbage, trash piled 3 and 4 feet high, covered with feces all through the house. It doesn't look like the toilet or the bathtub had been usable or workable for quite some time, primarily because of the feces and trash.
Investigators had to use hazmat suits to process the scene for evidence. The kids telling deputies that they spent day and night passing time by playing games and watching TV. They would only see their mother when she or another stranger would stop by once a week to drop pre-prepared food.
All right, I'm just going to show you that while we talk. I see we had 170 people in here. We're down to 133. That gives you a better chance to win. Less people. All right, guys, you guys get ready. We're going to give away. We're almost at an hour and 30 minutes. We're almost at an hour and a half. I really want somebody that wants a Foxy box to win one. Okay, so I'm playing this while I'm talking to you. Thank you guys so much for being here. Happy Friday. Dump your questions or dump any comments in chat and make sure you hit like. Now, Foxy, I know that we have giveaways. if you can confirm, we have giveaways for people that live outside of the U.S., but I think it's something different than the Foxy Box. So if you're not in the country, the shipping is really expensive. All right. Some fool in this club buying the trash drink thinking he gonna get bombed. Only he knew. Yeah, this is bad. All right, I'm glad you're still here, and it's members only. So members are already in chat, and you got to be in the U.S. Somebody asked what the brown spots were. I'm assuming that it was probably dirt and feces. And when people walk up and down something, you get the marks of wear and tear. They were probably sliding up and down the stairs and whatever else. All right. Happy Friday, everyone. Thank you. So that's Synth. So Synth, our other mod, has snail mail for you guys. All right. Nothing like E. coli, right? Oh my goodness. Who knows what conditions those children were in. You saw the grown adults coughing. Did you see that? They were, or hear it? They're like, can't even breathe, guys. They're in there with the hazmat suits. All right. I will brag all month long. All right. All right, guys. Let's pull that up so we can get somebody to win. I'm going to pull this down. Again, thank you for being here. I love the members onlys. Let's go here and drop this in. I should be a pro at this by now, but hold on real quick. It always says, can you log in? Log in. Maybe it won't make me. Oh, yay. Oh, no, log in. All right, one sec, guys. All right. All right, you ready? Let's go. Who's going to win the Foxy Box? Thank you guys for being here today. I appreciate that. What's up, everybody? Good to see people that are rolling in now. Barbie G. Barbie G, are you here in the United States? Now, we know you're a member. It's U.S. shipping only. So if you're in the U.S., Foxy's going to ship the Foxy Box. Where's Barbie G? So 10987 65431. There it is. Barbie G. All right. So you want to email what? guiltyofprizes@gmail.com. Is that what it is? And yeah, if you guys are looking to get some merch, you can go there. The merch store is now up and running, so you can not have to fill out a form. All right. Barbie G. Where's Barbie G? Does she have to be here? Or do we just say guiltyofprizes@gmail.com and she has to claim it? All right. Congratulations. Everything went really nice. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate the new members here. All right. Next week, I'll have some updates on things that are happening. I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of brief update, whatever case that we follow. So I'll tell you some of the updates behind the scenes, but I'm going to wait until everything is a little bit more clear to me. But just know, if you guys see anything that you don't like or you don't want to see it, just report it and move on. I'm taking care of all the nonsense behind the scenes, and I'll tell you a little bit more. Even my mods don't know. All right, okay, so Barbie G's not here, but she's got to go email guiltyofprizes@gmail.com. And how many days does she have? Like 3 days. All right, where's the blanket, Tiff? Can you drop a link to the blanket in chat? Yeah, congratulations. It is in there. It's in the merch section. So before Barbie G, you got it. All right, so guiltyofprizes@gmail.com will get you over to Foxy. And yes, I'll vape. There you go. You're welcome, Nanaska. Just for you. All right. All right, guys. You guys, please go over and get that. Check out guiltyofcrime.com. Hit the merch button. Everything should be up. All right, Barbie, if you're in the U.S., then we're good to go. Nanaska, that was for you. One puffer, two. I got two of them with double fisting it. All right. Yes, have a good night. It looks like this guy missed the stream. I saw you becoming a member at the beginning. Thank you. Let's move in a positive direction, everybody. Replay crew, if you need to rewatch it, go rewatch it. I'll see you guys on Monday, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Again, I'm trying to do a case a day. Okay, guys? A case a day is the goal. When the Madeline Soto case has real tangible updates, then I'll update you. Of course, we're looking for Elisa Petrov. We're going to keep up on that case. Jack and Lily and all the other cases. Sade Robinson. All right, guys, have a wonderful weekend. Hit the like button on your way out, and please do share the content. Look forward to more House of Horrors that didn't turn out so well. All right, guys, love you all. Have a wonderful night and a good weekend. I'll see you next week. All right, and thank you, Steph Rocks from Canada. Well, we're from the U.S. Thank you. All right, good night, y'all.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?